Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, this is Matt. I was going to post a video. We've had a couple of people asking about wanting questions about re-wicking, so kind of thought it would be a good idea to maybe show a couple of. This is just a couple of wicking techniques that I've used. I re-wick my coils pretty frequently, so I do it a lot, and I've just found a couple things that works for me. Of course, like everything else, it's all subjective. I've got this on the CLT2 Plus. It's a great big gigantic build. Honestly, it's pretty big, but you know, it fires and it really does it rocks, man. And that's a big build too. It's kind of dry. I might not need to be wanting to do that. But anyway, so I'm gonna pull these off real quick. I'm gonna dry fire these coils and re-wick it. And of course, this CLT, you can really dump a truckload of cotton down in there in the bottom. And I was kind of using this is kind of a Steve Dorrington's one of the techniques of what I had on here, and his do it. And I've been running some really crazy builds at a really, I mean, with some real crazy powers. You can see those coils are huge. It's just 20 gauge. I think it's a 9 wrap, and on a 3mm screwdriver. But man, I haven't got any problems with any dry heading, so I'm going to go ahead and burn that off real quick. We let that sit there to the side for a minute and cool down. What I do in this, and this is, like I said, this is a Steve Dorrington technique that I learned. It works really well, and if anybody has seen any of the clouds that Steve blows, man, he blows some astronomical clouds, and he uses a lot of series box mods whenever he does a lot of his stuff. So this right here is just some regular old, this is some cotton that I had actually gotten from Wildcat Vapors. It's some of Joe's cotton that he has. I love it, man. It wicks really well. So I just pull it apart like this. Grab some scissors. Now where I'm using a where my builds or most of my builds are around a 3mm screwdriver. They typically, it's a really big center build, and a lot of people don't use it that big. I do, but you take this and I spread it out like that, the whole cotton ball, and then I'll cut it in half. And then I'll take this one little piece right here, take it, fluff it out a little bit like that. And then I'll cut this piece in half. Alright, now I'll take it, fold this over, and then start rolling it in my hands. Now you don't want to take all the fluffiness out of it because you still want it to be good and fluffy. But and then there's one. And so there's your two wicks. I'm going to take the first one. Twist the end like that. And run it through the coil. And sometimes you need to give it a little help. Now you want it to be good and snug, and kind of like Steve says when he's doing his, you want it to be in there tight enough where you can pick up your box mod, or you can pick up your mod or whatever. And so it's still free enough to move in there, but it's still tight enough to hold your mod. But anyway, and so it's still really good and fluffy like that. Other side. Twist the end. Run it through. Anyway, so there you go. It's one of the. So what I'm gonna do is make sure, and it like I said, this is something that he kind of does. Steve Dorrington does, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one off one side and run it all the way under the deck, like this. Okay. Same with this side. I'm going to run one side all the way underneath the deck. And it looks like I need to do this side here. Okay? So make sure you got enough cotton here to run it under the deck. Like that. And that's about 3/4 of an inch. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and take it and stuff it under the coil, just like that. And this CLT, what I'm doing this on is a CLT version 2 plus. This thing has a massive juice well. Stuff it under there like so. Okay, just like that. And then I'll come up, and then kind of like what Steve does, he doesn't, you don't want that coming out touching the outside of your build deck, but you still want a good little fluff right there. Okay, and then I'm going to cut about 1/4 of an inch off of this side. Leave about 1/4 of an inch there. There. And tuck that underneath. Now, with me, I don't like any cotton touching the outside of my coils because it seems like it really kills the air. The more restriction I've got on anything that I've got in the way of my coils, it seems it really, 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 really gets in there and really it kills the airflow to the coil. So I don't like any cotton touching my coil. I don't like my coils to rest down on my cotton. I like lots and lots of airflow, especially lots of air hitting my cotton. Also, another thing too, especially when you get into some really, really, really low ohms, especially like I've been running lately, you'll really want to stuff that juice, your cotton, way down in there to make sure you get plenty around your center post. That way you don't melt any insulators, because I've been running some builds that are getting crazy, crazy, crazy hot. So stuff that down in there. And that's what she looks like, plenty of room, it's not super, super clean. Anyway, I'll take some juice. Oh my God, it's getting everywhere. I'm a stickler for that stuff. And then I'll take a little juice on my coils, fire it real quick, and it'll suck that juice right into them. I like to really, really, really heavily saturate them. Like I said, and then after it fluffs up after it gets wet, so then you can really situate your coils really well. I don't like my cotton getting too far outside of my deck. Give it a couple dry fires. Stick a cap on. Throw a couple more drops of juice in it. Fire down on it. It's good to go.